Welcome to the Van Hool Alternator testing procedure, sponsored by ABC Companies. This procedure will assist the technician in determining possible failures within the alternator circuit. Before we get started, let's review what will be covered in this video. We'll start with safety information and preparations. Then we'll move on to the skill set required, special tools, equipment, and supplies you'll need. Finally, we'll go step by step through the procedure, which will cover identifying an alternator fault, component location on the coach, and how to use the schematic to determine where to test for alternator faults. As always, safety comes first. Let's go through some steps that will help to ensure your personal safety when performing this procedure. Park the coach on a level surface with the front wheel straight. Apply the parking brake and shut down the engine. Switch off all systems. Turn off the battery master switch. Chock the wheels. And place a Do Not Operate sign on the instrument panel. Always observe safe shop practices and keep your work area clean and orderly. It is very important that this work is performed by a technician skilled in electrical diagnostics. You'll need the following special tools, equipment, and supplies before starting: electrical schematic, multimeter, and basic mechanic tools to remove panels. You'll want to refer to the Van Hool schematics and maintenance manual, or contact ABC Customer Care Technical Support at 877-427-7278. Support is available 24/7. Let's get started. First, we have to identify that we have an alternator concern. All Van Hool coaches do this by using battery symbols on the dash. Many times, alternators get misdiagnosed and wrong items are replaced. At Customer Care, we have seen the following happen from improper diagnostics. Wrong alternator replaced. Alternator replaced due to a tripped circuit breaker. Alternator replaced due to a broken wire. An alternator replaced because of a bad ground. Before we start troubleshooting, you should have an understanding as to how the circuit works. Knowing this will help you to diagnose any possible failures. Now that we understand how the circuit works and its key components, let's address what's going on with this coach today. Looking at the dash with the coach powered on and engine off, there is a battery light on the dash. You should see this every time before starting the engine. Once the engine is running, the battery light should go off, letting us know the system is working properly. However, on this coach, the battery light is staying on, letting us know we have an issue with the alternator circuit. Depending on the coach, refer to your schematic to understand where you need to start. On this CX coach, the schematic tells us to look in the EKA electrical box to find node 4. Leave the coach powered on with the engine off. The EKA electrical box is located in the floor of this model. Node 4 is the first node to the left in this box. With our multimeter, test input plug A, pin 21. Never remove the plug. Instead, back probe the plug carefully not to damage the wire. We are looking for a reading of less than 3 volts. This reading tells us that the connection from the alternator to the node is good and should be intact. It does not mean the alternator is working properly. Next, perform the same test for the second alternator. Now test node 4, plug D, pin 12. We are looking for a reading of less than 3 volts. As you see here, the multimeter reads more than 3 volts. We know we have an issue. Possible issues could be a faulty alternator, broken wire, tripped circuit breaker, or bad ground. Moving on to the next part of the troubleshooting process, start the engine. Again, check node 4, plug A, pin 21, and plug D, pin 12 for voltage. We are looking for a voltage of 27 plus volts. This will let us know if our alternator is charging. We back probe node 4, plug A, pin 21. This circuit checks out. Next, check node 4, plug D, pin 12. As you can see, the reading is lower than the charging voltage. Let's troubleshoot this alternator before we decide to replace it. We recommend you start at the bottom of the circuit and work your way up. On our first check, we were over 3 volts, which leads us to believe there is a possible break in the circuit. Our next testing point is plug 810, pin 1. Let's check the voltage on both sides of this plug to see if there is a change. Our readings show no significant change. Next, we have a circuit breaker Z21.6. Remove the circuit breaker and check both sides of the contacts. We have 2 different readings. This means that there is an open circuit. Replace the breaker and recheck at node 4. Now we have good charging voltage at our node. Let's check the front of the coach and see if our battery light is still on. The light is off and the system is working and charging. Before you change out alternators, take 5 to 10 minutes and do a little troubleshooting. It may save you time and money in the long run. If you have any questions or comments, please contact ABC Customer Care at 877-427-7278. Technical support is always available 24/7.